Go around the bus.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the horrible series.
I know, I got like a team.
I'm sorry.
So
Already, someone is leaving. So I guess I'm going to stall the intro.
See you later, boy. Ow.
Bryson off. Whatever his name is. What dog?
Well, now she's gone, so no more stalling. Let's get this done with, Officer Dunn.
Yeah, boy, it's me. Fight me, ho.
I'm Gus. I'm not even in this.
That's really good, John said over her shoulder. Charlie startled. You be Charlie now.
Oh yeah, and it was the dude voice. You scared me.
She said. Sorry. Charlie looked back at his drawing. Crikey! Charlie looked back at the drawing. Whatever it was better than what she could draw now. Suddenly her chest tight grip with loss and rage. It wasn't just that Michael had died young. It was what that truly meant. He had stopped in his tracks, decades of his life snatched and torn violently away from him. She felt herself well up with youthful indignation, as if she were a child again, wanting to whine. It's not fair. Taking a deep breath, Charlie set a picture back down on the table and turned away. The gathering was continuing, but she needed to leave. She caught Marla's eye, and Marla, as fairly intrusive as always, nodded and caught Lamar's sleeve. From their various vantage points, they all headed for the parking lot. No one seemed to notice their departure, which made sense. Except for Carlton. They were all strangers here. In the lot that stopped by Marla's car. She had somehow called down a miracle and found a space right next to the school. Can I play my game now? Jason said immediately, and Marla found her keys in her purse and handed them over.
Coach Dyer. I go, Coach Dyer. Great. He goes, Mike, she's scared. She goes,
Don't drive away.
She warned. Suddenly, Marla grabbed her brother and pulled him close, hugging him to her for a minute. Jeez, I'm only going to the car, he muttered when she let him go.
Y'all, maybe I should let you drive away.
She said, giving him a friendly little push. She cleared her throat.
So, are we going to Freddy's?
She said. They all looked at one another.
Yeah,
Charlie said.
I think we should.
This book still smells good.
Oh, I can smell popcorn.
Somehow following this, going back to Freddy's seemed like that more than a game. It felt right.
Let's meet there at sunset.
She said.
Hey, Jessica, can you catch a ride with the guys or something? I'm gonna go for a walk. God damn it. You can come with us.
Marla said.
I promise Jason I'll take him to the
give me a
movies.
Powerade.
Charlie headed down the road without wanting to hear the rest of the discussion. A dozen feet from the lot, she realized she was being followed. She turned around.
Okay. Okay.
Boy.
Okay.
Do you mind if I come? You go into your own house, right? Crikey!
You know how many Powerades I bought you?
How did you know that?
Wow. Wow.
It's the only interesting thing out this way. Anyway, I wanted to see the old place too. It was painted blue and there was a garden in the yard. It was weird.
Trey, what is wrong with you?
I knew it wasn't blue when I lived there, but I couldn't. What? Okay. But I couldn't remember what color it was supposed to be. Everything's so different. Troy didn't say anything. She wasn't even sure she wanted John to come with her. Her house, her father's house. It was too private, even though he just said he lived there. She thought of the first time John had seen the toys, his fascination and interest that was all his, that had nothing to do with pleasing her. She relented.
Okay, you can come.
Is it? He hesitated. Is it different?
It's really not.
Jesus Christ. Charlie said. It wasn't quite true, but she wasn't sure how to explain that thing that had changed. They walked together for the better part of 3 miles away from town and down old roads, first paved, then gravel. They neared the place they left the road, ascending the steep incline of a hill overturned with bush and trees that that should have been trimmed or cut down ages ago. Three rooftop take over the leaves, scattered wildly over the hill, but no one had lived in those houses in a long time. At last they walked up the driveway. John stepped short, staring up at the house. I thought it would be less imitating, he said softly. Impatient, Charlie took his arm for a second and then pulled him away. God damn. Chill, child. Leading him away from the side of the house. It was one thing for him to be with her, but she was not quite ready to let someone else inside. She wasn't even sure if she wanted to go inside anyways. He followed her without protest, aware that this was her territory and she would decide where they went. The property was large. I know. The property lot was large, more than a lawn. There were woods surrounding the wide space of the backyard, and as a child, Charlie had often felt like she was on her own little realm, full of all she surveyed. The grass had gone wild, weeds growing feral and up to their knees. They walked to the perimeter. John peered into the woods, and Charlie was struck by her old childhood fear, like something of a fairy tale. Don't go into the woods alone, Charlotte, her daddy warned. Oh God, no, I meant her father. Her father warned. It was not sinister, just a parent's warning. Don't get lost. He liked telling her to not cross the street without holding someone's hand or not touch the stove when it was hot. But Charlie took it more seriously. She knew from her storybooks, as all children did, the woods contained wolves and more dangerous things. She caught John's sleeve. Don't, she said, and he pulled back from the woods, not asking why. We're almost on page 100. Instead, he went to the tree in the middle of the yard and put a hand on it. Oh God, they're gonna talk about kisses. Remember that tree? He said. He asked, smiling, something a little wicked in his voice. Rapey vibes coming off him.
Of course.
Charlie said, walking over.
It's been here longer than I ever was.
But he was looking at her, waiting for more, and suddenly she remembered. It had been a sunny day, springtime. They were 6 years old, maybe. John was visiting, and they were playing hide and seek, half surprised by Charlie's father, who was in the garage workshop, absorbed by his machines. The door was open, so he would notice if someone screamed. But short of that, the outdoors was their own. John counted to 10, eyes covered, facing the tree that was home base. The yard was wide and open. There were not many places to hide, so Charlie, buoyed up by the excitement of the game, dared to hide beyond the forbidden edge of the woods, just barely past the tree line. John searched in other places first, behind her father's car, the corner where one part of the garage jutted out, the space between the porch where their child could barely crawl. He realized where she must be, and Charlie braced himself to run as he began to walk the edges of the yard, darting into the woods and out again, looking behind the trees. When at last he found her, she took off, tearing across the lawn to the home base tree. He was just behind her, so close he could almost touch her, and she sped up, staying out of reach. She hit the tree, almost slamming into it, and John was right behind, bumping into her a second later. Too fast to stop. They were both giggling hysterically, and then they stopped at the same moment, still catching their breath. Hey, Charlotte, John said, stressing her name in the mocking tone he always used.
Don't call me that,
Charlie said automatically. Yeah, I've seen grown-ups kiss. He picked up a stick and started digging at the tree bark, like he was more interested in that than her answer. Charlie shrugged.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wanna try it? Rapey. Oh yes, Charlie, do this. He wasn't looking at her. His face was streaked with dirt, like it often was. His hair was sticking out in all directions. A twig caught above his forehead. He shouldn't be thinking about this. He's 6 years old. None of my guy friends ever talked about that when they were 6.
Gross,
Charlie said, wrinkling her nose. Then after a moment,
yeah, okay.
John dropped the stick and leaned towards her, his hands behind his back. Oh, like little children kiss. That never happened to me, thank God. Charlie closed her eyes, waiting, still not entirely sure what she was supposed to do. Charlotte! It was her father. Charlie jumped back. John's face so close to hers that she banged into him with her forehead. Ow! He yelled, clapping his hands to his nose. Charlie's father came around the side of the tree. What are you up to, John? He pried John's fingers away from his nose. You're not bleeding, you'll be fine. Oh shit. He said, Charlie, come closer to the house, please. Then he pointed his finger, directing them towards John. It looks like your mom is here anyways. He walked up ahead of them towards the driveway where his car had just pulled in. Yeah, okay. John trotted off towards the driveway, turning once to wave at Charlie. He was grinning like something wonderful had happened, although Charlie was not quite sure what it was.
Oh my.
Toya said now, covering her face. Sure, it was bright red. When she looked up again, John was grinning, the same satisfied 6-year-old grin. You know, my nose still hurts when it rains, he said, touching a finger to it.
It does not.
Troy said. She leaned back against the tree.
I can't believe you tried to kiss me. We were 6.
Charlie stared at him accusingly. Even the littlest heart wants what it wants. No, that's not normal, John said in a mocking romantic tone. Rapey vibes coming off this man.
I do tons of mocking romantic tones.
But there was an edge of something real in it. Something not well enough hidden. Charlie realized suddenly that he was standing very close to her. Her rapey vibes, my man.
Okay, yep, that's weird.
Oh, wait. Let's go see your dad's workshop, Dunn said abruptly too loud, and Charlie nodded. Yeah, let's get away from you.
Okay.
No one can hear you scream when I tie a rope around your neck. We're so close to chapter 4. She did not want to open the workshop door. She closed her eyes, still leaning against the tree. She could still see it. It was all she could see when she thought of the place. The twitching, malformed metal skeleton in the dark corner with its wrenching shoulders and its blistering silver eyes. The image welled up in her head until it was all there was. The memory radiated a cutting anguish, but she did not know who it belonged to. The thing to her father or herself. Charlie felt a hand on her shoulder and she opened her eyes. It was John, frowning at her like he was worried. Charlie, he okay?
No. Yes.
She said.
Come on, let's go see what's in the workshop.
It was not locked, and there was no real reason it should be, Charlie thought. Stop making so much noise, I'm going to finish the paragraph. Her eyes went first to the dark corner. The figure was not there. There was a weathered apron hanging in its place on her the one her father had worn for soldering? So, yeah. His goggles next to it, but there was no sign of the uncanny presence. Charlie should have felt relief, but she didn't, only vague unease. She looked around. There seemed to be almost nothing left of the workshop. You want to work with me? Do you want to text me? Me? What the fuck do you mean?
I thought you said her, and I was like...
No, I said, did you want to text later, like real fast? Yes. Because lonely boy, over here.
I will gladly do it, and if I am busy, I will try to tell you later on.
Hey, Vsauce here. Sorry.
Well, I will talk to you later.
See ya. There seemed to be almost nothing left of the workshop. The branches were there, where her father had assembled them and tweaking his inventions, but only the materials, the blueprints, and half-finished robots that were once crammed into their every surface had disappeared.